Welcome to New Possibilities. I speak truth to power without fear. Recently, T.I. posted clips of Lil Wayne's video where he's being interviewed on Nightline and he's talking about Black Lives Matter. And T.I. also posted a lengthy open letter to Lil Wayne. And what I'm going to do is read some excerpts from this letter and summarize segments of it, and then I'm going to provide my commentary. So T.I. starts out talking about how he just recently learned about Lil Wayne's Nightline interview. His son and daughter showed it to him, and T.I. said that he was at a complete loss of words. And then T.I. went on to talk about how he has known Lil Wayne for a decade and how they have developed a friendship outside of music. He talked about the relationship between his daughter and Lil Wayne's daughter, how they're real tight. And then T.I. went on to say, I know you're wired a little bit different from other people, but then he went on to say, you're still tripping. And he went on to talk about how Lil Wayne's comments were absolutely unacceptable. He said that you're disrespecting yourself, bringing shame on your family name, and tarnishing your legacy. And he talked about how you have children who are looking up to you. And he said that we have sons and daughters that are dependent on you. They look to you for leadership. T.I. went on to say, if you don't stand for something out here, all the money, jewelry, cars, mansions, bandanas, and hit records don't mean shit. Our people are being oppressed. We are being hunted, captured, and slaughtered out here daily. You have to get out of your bubble you're living in and go out and educate yourself. And then T.I. goes on to say, you must stop this buffoonery and cooning you're doing out here. You're looking like someone who has something to gain or lose by pretending like it's not as bad as Black Lives Matter is making it seem. And then he goes on to say, basically, that Lil Wayne is doing some Uncle Tom shit. And he says, I know you're better than this. I've been proud to call myself a fan and a friend of Lil Wayne. And he says that if that must end in order to stand up for those who cannot do it for themselves, so be it. And he goes on to talk about how if you're not prepared to answer a question, just say no comment. But stop embarrassing yourself and everyone out here who's been supporting you. There is no middle ground. Oppression knows no neutral party. Either you're a part of the oppressed or you're with the oppressor. There is no such thing as oppression not affecting you. Condemning Lil Wayne's coonery and buffoonery, I have to commend him not only just for publicly condemning it, but for reaching out to this brother, trying to wake him up, trying to educate him about the impact that he is having on the community. So I have to salute him for that. I have to commend him for that. Now, some will say, well, why did he make this public? Why did he write a public letter if he knows Lil Wayne so well? Why didn't he just call him up and talk to him about it one-on-one, man to man? And I understand that. I understand that very well. But Lil Wayne didn't make his comment among a few friends in a private gathering. This fool made his comments before the whole world on Nightline News. So this comment is going around the world. So it had to be challenged publicly because these entertainers, these celebrities, they have a huge platform. And what they say has impact. What they say is impressionable upon the minds of young people. So it had to be challenged publicly. It had to be condemned publicly. Because here you have black people who are fighting against police brutality, fighting against oppression, fighting against police who are killing black people every other day without justification, fighting against that. And for fighting and standing up, those young black people, those activists are being condemned by the media. They're being called terrorists. They're being painted as the villain when they are the heroes. They're attacking those who have the courage to speak up, but they are not addressing the problem. They are not addressing the police. They're not condemning the police who commit these crimes against people, commit these crimes against black people, brutalize black people, kill black people, harass black people, humiliate black people. They're not speaking out against those police. They are defending them. They are protecting them. They are rationalizing their conduct. And it doesn't help when you have a celebrity piling on, attacking those who had the nerve to stand up, who have the courage to stand up. And what they do is when black celebrities make these ridiculous statements like Lil Wayne, they drag those celebrities out and they use them as a buffer, as a shield against charges of racism by saying, well, Lil Wayne condemned Black Lives Matter or dismissed them as not being something that's a real problem. This whole issue of police brutality is not being a real problem. This idea that Black Lives Matter is not really an issue because I have all this wealth and success, so America values Black lives. That's ridiculous. And I'm glad that T.I. condemned that foolishness publicly, because it's important that people lend their voice to this issue. Because me or other activists, yes, we spoke out about this stuff. And it did get attention from the media. They did talk about how Lil Wayne was being publicly condemned for his comments. That's important for us to speak out. But it's also important that these celebrities speak out as well, because their voice is much louder than ours. Their voice receives much more attention than ours. So for that reason, I support T.I.'s stance, and I'm glad that he did it. I'm glad that the brother is waking up. I'm glad that so many of our people are awake now. And that's what they fear. They fear the awakening of Black America. They fear that. That's why they had to snuff out those voices that pierced through the noise, those voices that inspired the people, those voices that gave the people knowledge of self, those voices that inspired the people to get involved in the struggle. That's why they had to snuff out a Malcolm X. That's why they had to snuff out a Martin Luther King. That's why they had to kill a Medgar Evers. That's why they had to kill a Fred Hampton, because they don't want the people to wake up. And I think that they fear a day when these rappers, instead of singing about getting high, instead of singing about shooting and killing their own people, they fear a day when these rappers who have such influence will wake up from their stupor, will wake up from the stupidity and take on the enemy instead of taking on each other. They fear that day. And it is never too late for our people to wake up. Some people will say, this brother T.I. used to sing about selling drugs. This brother T.I. used to sing about killing other brothers. This brother T.I. had music that was disrespectful to women. And that's valid. Those are valid points. But it is never too late for us to wake up. It's never too late. It wasn't too late for Brother Malcolm when he was in that jail cell, convicted of burglary. It wasn't too late for that brother. It wasn't too late for him when he was a pimp, when he was a drug user and drug seller, when he was a numbers runner. It wasn't too late for that brother. He heard a message that pierced his heart and pierced his soul and woke him up from that deep slumber. And he went on to become one of the greatest leaders in our history as a people. It wasn't too late for Malcolm, and it's not too late for T.I. It's not too late for Lil Wayne. If they wake up, and T.I. has woken up, when the young people wake up, imagine the power that they have. Imagine what kind of change they can help bring about. If instead of influencing people towards negativity, they could influence people towards positivity and empowerment. There's no limit to what we can accomplish when we are awake, when we are conscious. Because everything starts with a thought. Everything does. You can't free your body if your mind is not free. So we have to free the minds of our people. We have to. And we have to keep pushing ahead. Pushing against the current, pushing against the grain. Keep striving to wake our people up. Because his brother T.I., it looks like he's awake. Wide awake. He recently did a video about police brutality that was powerful. And I hope that we see more of this. I hope we return to a day when we had groups like Public Enemy. Public Enemy speaking out about the issues that affected our people, that affect our people. Educating the people about Malcolm X, educating the people about Minister Louis Farrakhan, educating the people about Assata Shakur. I just hope that we wake up as a people. And we have to hold ourselves accountable. We have to hold these politicians accountable, these celebrities accountable for their foolishness. That's the only way you can check treason. It has to be addressed. And I'm glad this brother addressed it. And I hope more people follow his example. And I hope that this is not just a moment in time. I hope that it becomes a movement. I hope that this is not some fad for the moment. And I hope that it becomes something that is enduring. I hope that people are not jumping on the hottest thing right now for the moment. And I hope that they are sincerely embracing the struggle and are sincerely turning over a new leaf and gaining a new and higher understanding. It's not too late for our people. So we must hold our people accountable, but we must hold them accountable in love. Hold them accountable and try to wake them up. So those are my comments. Tell me what you think. Please rate, comment, and subscribe.